So I really wanted to come on stream and talk with you guys about this video because, by the way, please, if you are not subscribed to Monkey Fight TCG, you need to fix that right now. Like, this guy is so good. He makes some of the best, most unbiased, fair, analytical, excellently written and edited content about TCGs on the internet. Period. I love this guy. I think this guy's YouTube channel is great. So please, please go there, subscribe to them, and check their channel out. I've reacted to some of their videos before, and he always has really good videos.
Of this video is that the modern collector's cycle of initial scalping followed by later mass reprints is not healthy for trading card games because it fundamentally ignores the player aspect of the market.
I totally agree with this guy's premise that card games are beginning to not care if anybody even plays the game, right? Card games are being treated more as collector items over a card game. Yeah, it feels like some of the card games, and my biggest issue, it feels like Magic the Gathering is going this way super hardcore, where like Magic the Gathering is literally becoming like Labubu's or whatever, you know what I mean? Where it's just like crossovers, flash sales, random boxes, like sold out, limited editions, but like, you know, Labubu is the follow-up to the freaking Cabbage Patch Kids. Or sorry. There was the Cabbage Patch Kids. Those were all sold out and collector's items for a while, right? And then it was... God, what was the other one? Was it Beanie Babies? Thousands of dollar Beanie Babies. Yeah, right? Where they're literally become like... They're creating their own Beanie Baby bubble, right? There's a comment here that was really cool, right? Where somebody mentioned this thing that I didn't really think about, where someone talked about this everything bubble, right? The idea that there's an everything bubble, and it's just like people are investing in the stock market, and then like the stock market kind of gets priced out, so then people start invested in houses, and now houses are too expensive, and then people started investing in cars, and now cars are too expensive. And like all the investment money keeps trickling down further and further into more and more stuff. And it's like ruining more and more things because it's like more and more things are being completely filled up with investment money to the point where the bubble is too big and they have to move on to the next thing before like the bubble pops, right? All right, I know this is not One Piece related, but still the idea that like all these investors and scalpers constantly think they're going to be bailed out. And they're constantly like appealing to companies to make sure that they don't lose money, right? The idea that we would like not ban something or not reprint something because it'll cost people too much money is like so insane and detached from anything reasonable that I think it's just so bad. At least the online One Piece, the game has free cards and you don't have to pay for them. I mean, the free TCG, the sim, is such an insane level of free advertising that if you don't think that making it paid would be worse from the game overall, you're out of your mind, right? Like, how much money would the sim have to make to be worth losing all of the free advertising, the infinite amount of free advertising you're getting because of its existence, right? Like, you're making so much money because the sim exists and lets people test cards before they buy them. And I don't know if you people know this. I'm not talking to you, sorry. I feel like I want to talk to the screen and like I want to talk to the camera and talk to Bandai directly, but like I don't know if people know this, but demos work. Demos sell copies. Free trials sell copies. Like, it's just straight up the case. Nobody would play One Piece without the sim. Just look at our Lorcana. Lorcana is now basically only for Disney diehards and extremely competitive players. If you have the money and the investment to play in the competitive Lorcana circuit, it is worthwhile, but the local Lorcana scene is basically entirely dead. Even at the local store that I worked at, right, Ala Tompkins TCG, before I left, Lorcana went from 8 people to 6 people to 4 people every week, and has not been longer. Has not been larger than 4 people for, you know, the entire year before the shop closed down. So nobody really plays Lorcana at the local level. By the way, the One Piece tournament has never had less than 8 people ever. Never. Ever, ever, ever. And the One Piece tournament sometimes had, you know, 14, 16 people for the larger events like pre-releases and stuff like that. And that's in a tiny store in the middle of nowhere, New York, right? Like,
pain points to any new consumer and puts very hard limits on how active crucial members of a community can be. This is most visible in smaller new games, which are more vulnerable generally.
Yeah, like, what the hell happened to Star Wars Unlimited?
This is most visible in smaller new games, which are...
Isn't that game just dead now, too? That game was uber scalped because Star Wars. The first set was, but now who even cares about it, right? Like, it feels like with so many games, you have to wait for the reprints, where it's like, you can't play in the first set because it would be sold out. You can't play in the second set because it'll be sold out. And you can maybe play in the third set if the game survives that long, because they'll start reprinting the first and second set. But then the game might end because the reprints will scare away all the people that bought it at high prices. It's so bad.
Historically, the bulk majority of trading card game sales are a side product of some form of word of mouth. Your friend showing you a card game, or maybe your locals is trying something. Basically, classic kitchen table magic or casual locals. However, the modern investor player is different. They are here first and foremost as a means to generate revenue, which can be very good in the short term, since they're very capturable by viral marketing and spend heavily on key products, but they also bring with them new baggage. This starts a cycle with a massively successful first set. It brings in scalpers, resellers, and often a hasty competitive scene to generate hype.
This was Fusion World too. Do you guys remember when I played Fusion World for a few weeks? Who remembers that? I bought boxes of the first set in Fusion World and was able to sell a lot of the cards for profit. But all of the other sets after that for Fusion World were super terrible, and nobody wanted to buy them and nobody wanted to sell them. Same with Gundam, couldn't get MSRP or that beta set, so I decided I don't want to contend with another Bandai crap distro. Yeah, it was what I was mentioning earlier. Bandai distribution still, like, it has the same model in the East as it does in the West, and those two places are just not the same at all, right? In the East, it's for fun, but in the West, it's for profit, and those two things are so different, and it's really tragic. And it's just like, the slow annihilation of the for fun player is very bad, I think. Like, I'm not a for fun player, and I'm not affected by the for fun player decisions or whatever, but it's really bad, because I think that even Magic the Gathering Commander, which is supposed to be a for fun set, is so quickly just getting insanely power and value crept that it's not even like, because if you're playing like for fun casually and you don't care about winning, then the chances that your like deck is just $1 million is so much higher, right? A lot of the for fun people aren't even just people that care about playing the game. They're just collecting, and they play the game as a side thought to like flex their collection. And so few people are like actually the budget players, for fun players or whatever, right? Like, that's what I feel like is one of the few things keeping One Piece alive, is that they do have a bunch of entry routes for people that just want to stay playing cheap and play for fun. It's what helps Pokemon as well, right? In theory. But the scalping has gotten so bad in Pokemon, and he'll talk about it as well, that even the for fun players are getting pushed out.
The scalping or investor cycle slows the rate at which players can obtain game pieces, and therefore the rate at which established players can bring new players into the game. While On some level, this increases market visibility and hype. It does not build a foundation for long-term success, and leaves these games completely screwed when scalpers leave. There are very real consequences to tailoring these games to investors and competitive.
Every time I see that shit, I cringe so bad. Who thought this was a good idea for Magic the Gathering? Who thought, like, oh yeah, that's cool, we'll just have them do the Akira slide in a motorcycle?
There are consequences to tailoring these games to investors and competitive players, instead of the lower-level casual players. Long-term, hard-to-deal-with consequences. Hasbro has been employing a business strategy of pivoting Magic the Gathering towards catering to structured Commander players, pure Funko Pop collectors, and Rudy from Alpha Investments.
I hate what has happened to Magic, dude. I hate it. I used to be such a die-hard Magic the Gathering lover and supporter. I did like almost nothing but eat, breathe, and sleep that game for like 5-6 years of my life. And what they've done with it now is such a tragedy.
Looking at why, Commander players are much easier to cater towards. They only require singles so they can be given less, which helps take tension away from it.
God, Magic the Gathering is so cringe now. Holy. Oh my god. Did you guys see that?
They only require singles so they can be given less.
Padded up Mexican dude. Looks like he's in a gang. Gets a knock on the door.
Which helps.
And then there's a white lady who has 40K MTG tattooed on her knuckles. Some Karen.
Take tension away from a TCG's inherently.
And then they let her into the secret 40K Warhammer MTG. Like, is this what people who play Magic the Gathering think they look like? How are you gonna be like, it's a mob backroom with a bouncer, scary bouncer at the front, and inside the mob backroom, instead of playing poker, they're playing Magic the Gathering? Are we being for real right now?
Commander has the largest portion of new players out of any Magic format. So Magic the Gathering is incentivized to take support away from other formats like Standard, Modern, and Legacy.
Who plays any of these anymore? Nobody plays any of these formats anymore except for Standard on Arena. But do they ever play Standard anywhere other than Arena? I haven't seen a Standard paper tournament anywhere in years. Well, SCG is the only place that hosts them.
Which have seen constant shakeups and a general decrease in support of the competitive scene. Almost a complete decimation on the local level.
This is exactly what I'm saying. The local Magic the Gathering scene has been decimated, annihilated. I don't even see, like, a lot of stores can't even get a full 8-person pod for draft. Like, they still can't even get a full 8. Like, when I worked at the card game store, we would have like 6 people for draft on Fridays for F&M. If we're lucky, it was 6. Sometimes it would just be 4 or 5 people. So it was so bad.
With a majority of stores cutting their events and replacing them with just Commander. For the collectors and investors,
most stores don't even have draft or Standard or anything. They just have Commander twice. There was literally, like, that's what happened. We went from having Commander once a week to having Commander twice a week because nothing else ever fired.
Cards as game pieces is secondary, which allows for both wizards to cut corners and pump out more sets than ever, but also ensure that other forms of value are there to consistently enable sales, either through promoting investment potential, scalping, brand investment, or fall.
I love how he threw that in there. Investment potential, which is just scalping. It's just scalping.
This new collectability combines with the drive to Commander to create a series of products that is both targeted primarily at casual players while being extremely antagonistic towards them.
Exactly. This is the same thing, right? Where, like, Final Fantasy and Fallout and Doctor Who and all of those, they're in theory supposed to be for casual Magic the Gathering players, right? People who have never really played Magic the Gathering, but this is a way to get them into the game. But at the same time, those sets are so limited print run that they get scalped incredibly, and then all the actually casual people who might want to get into it feel like they can't because it's too expensive, right? Like, Final Fantasy is the perfect example of this, with how expensive all of the Final Fantasy cards are for really no reason.
This model also hopes that stores don't get burned too dramatically for the weaker.
I just cannot see this stuff and not get mad. I can't. The racetrack shit is so bad. This was the point where I was like, okay, I'm done with Magic, man. I hate this. It's so lame. Every time I see ads for it, I get so mad. Why are we with elves and goblins and sandworms? Why are we racing on future electronic light sickles from Tron, like light motorcycles from Tron? Why are we doing this? I hate it so much. This is like worse than watching Darth Vader hit the gritty on Naruto in Fortnite.
Sets in the cycle. This model has seen success in a very few games, but it can work. But the reason it works for a game like Fortnite is that Fortnite is accessible on all basic levels to anyone who just downloads the game. Magic the Gathering isn't, and can never be by its inherent design.
Fortnite makes sense as a place where all the brands just slam together, because Fortnite is a free-to-play community experience. You just hop on with your friends and you talk shit and you have fun. And it doesn't matter if you're good at the game or bad at the game. You're just there to have fun with your friends. But like, Magic the Gathering's not the same because it has that collector investor on top of it, constantly like putting pressure on things, right? Like, there's a huge difference between paying $5 or $15 to be able to hit the gritty as Goku and, you know, start singing a Sabrina Carpenter song with Naruto playing the bass and LeBron James on the drums. But, like, it's not the same in Magic the Gathering, you know? If I want to have a Cloud from Final Fantasy Commander deck with using the One Ring and Frodo Baggins and a Biomutant from Fallout, and I also want to cast Hadouken with my 10th Doctor David Tennant, then like I'm spending like $1,000 to put together that commander deck. Like, these things are not the same.
Out of this wider market, the problems with the Pokemon TCG come exclusively from the investor and scalper portion of the community. And you might hate the way I frame that, but because of how the game is distributed, scalpers are a part of the community. That's part of the problem. Depending on how early they get in, the scalper may or may not actually make money, but in any case, the average consumer suffers. The casual investor retreats almost entirely, and the mid-tier collector is pushed.
Like, I don't even understand why stuff like this is legal. Like, I mean, I guess this, if you're actually a store, it makes
out
sense.
Stores and jack up prices.
But if you're
across
actually
the
a
board,
person and you
depending
go
on
to
how
a
early
spot
they get in, consumer suffers.
and you do this and you just buy out as much as you physically can without letting other people get something and just pushing other people out of the way so you can get more, like, I wish this stuff was illegal.
Casual investor retreats almost entirely, and the mid-tier collector is pushed into limited engagement and spending. Now, these TCG investments will get passed around between resellers until the bubble collapses, and someone is left holding the bag. Because the real consumer of these products don't actually value the cards at the same level as scalpers do. They never did. I don't actually know if future children will have the same fondness for trading card games as we do. We've taken those opportunities to collect and play without the secondary market from them. And population-wise, there will be much less of them and us.
Like, that's the part that feels really sad too, right? That, like, being a Pokemon collector as an actual kid is so hard because you're literally competing with these grown adult quote-unquote investors for these children card games, right? It's supposed to be a children's card game. Why are the children not able to buy any? Because they're getting out-competed by some scalper on TikTok Shop. It's like so sad.
So they can probably split the limited supply without as much question. It might be like baseball cards again. And that's what I really want to get at. Without a love for the game, there is no value, not monetary, and certainly not even imaginary. If a player's desire to collect cannot...
I think that is the quote that is like the most important. If there isn't a love for the game, the value is fake and it will disappear. So if people don't like the game, if people don't like the community of the game, then eventually all value is fake, right? So like, especially with new games, like I'm so scared of new game value because it's really like, if you don't get in and sell out right away, you're just going to be another person left holding the bag or whatever. You're just going to be another... You know, so many people treat these card games the way they treat meme coins, where it's like, oh, there's always going to be some sucker who will pay a little bit more than I did.
And that's all the investors in Scalper cycle does. It adds pain points, ruins experiences, and gatekeeps a game whose success is based on mass market appeal.
This constant adding of pain points to people, right? It's like you see it in the TCG Reddit every day. Every day there's someone like, do you think this card price will go down? Like, what should I do with this? Should I grade it, sell it? What do I do? It's like, oh, how do I build this on the cheap? Every day there's someone being like, man, I want to play this card game more and I like it and I have fun, but it's too expensive. There's something keeping me out. There's something stopping me from being able to buy cards because someone else is trying to make a profit off of it, you know?
And it hits every game in the same way. It is trading away the long-term value of these games for short...
Yeah, what card can I use to replace Mr. 2? Like, how many times has that question been in the chat in Reddit or anywhere? It's everywhere. Yeah, Gatling Luffy isn't helping One Piece. Yeah, stuff like that, right? Like, these things are everywhere. Everywhere there's people who like the game and who want to play the game but can't because of scalpers. And like the scalpers don't seem to realize that if they really hold to their guns and are like, no, I need to make a profit off of this thing that I bought. What do you mean I'm going to sell it for the same amount that I buy it? Or like, what do you mean I'm not going to try and buy it instantly because it's a limited print run thing and resell it later? That like, well, if nobody likes the game and if there's nobody out there who wants it, like you can't just keep selling it back and forth between other scalpers. There has to actually be some community member who wants it, right? Like, MTG had similar issues with Sheoldred, for sure.
Term profits. And it's not always profits. I think it's a risky gamble to do for a lot of these companies.
MetaZoo is so another one that was just like so clear it was going to die.
The community tends to not talk about these games because there's so many of them.
Yes, trying to seek an ever-increasing profit from something that is supposed to be for children is bad. It's not good. There's just no scenario where it's good or helpful or doing anything, you know? It's like... Yeah. It's like trying to be a freaking diaper reseller or whatever, right? Like, let me go to the store and buy up all the diapers and then resell them to moms for a profit. You know, it's not like as extreme, but like doing that would also be terrible. You'd be an awful person, right? Like you're making a profit, but you're a terrible, scummy human being to be reselling diapers or whatever, right? And like, obviously trading card games are not a necessity or whatever, but like it is true that games, period, playing games is a necessity for all children. Period. And that's not even just human children, right? Like, animal children play games. Cats play games. Dogs play games, especially when they're children, right? They play games with each other. They play fight. They find a stick to roll around and push back and forth. They find a ball to roll with. They play catch with each other or tug of war or whatever, right? Like, games are fundamental to how brains learn to interact with one another and how societies have cohesion, right? So like, I do think games are so fundamental to children and to people as a whole. So like the idea that you're like robbing this child of the ability to play a game because you want to make money is so bad to me. It's like so lame.